My name is Buzay. I'm the Associate Vice President and Dean at Roger Williams University. My family and I live north of Boston, and I have the pleasure of working in Rhode Island. So I was born and raised in Anoka, Minnesota. My dad and mom grew up on the farm in South Dakota. And I've always had a very strong work ethic and faith component in their lives. There was a summer program that my dad signed me up at the City of Anoka Parks Department, in which I worked for the Parks Department and essentially maintained cemeteries, reflecting on those moments in life. The work that he taught me to instill the love of work, the love of investing yourself into a profession that you love and finding yourself in that profession, which taught me a lot. I moved to working at Menards, worked myself up from pushing carts to working just outside John Menard's office. And that was a very fast and very fulfilling ride of just throwing myself into work. I would even say, reflecting back, kind of overextending myself into that work. In that point, I think I realized that work can't be everything. There is a true burnout that you get if you don't balance your life, if you don't think about that work needs to have an alternative investment. I remember having a really intense conversation with my father and talking about that I think I need a hard pivot in my life and considering education. Bethel had very strong educational programs. Kind of took a leap of faith and jumped into the Masters of Teaching program. At Bethel is really where I learned to understand the community of God, the faith. And that is really where I started to get my true love of higher education. My wife got a job offer in Boston. We packed up our bags and moved to Boston. So I worked at Harvard in the area of advancement, really advancing really strong public health initiatives. In the height of COVID, I made the pivot and started my position at Roger Williams University. In my position, I oversee the Office of Career and Professional Development. I oversee the Office of Alumni, and I oversee all of the internal operations of the Department of Philanthropy. I love talking to people. I love hearing what their passion is. I love hearing about what their connection to the institution is. I find love of higher ed is taking off the veil of what higher education actually means. And it is finding students' self. It is discovery. It is challenging their worldview. And that is the true value of higher education. There's a great story that I was taught at some point in my life where if you have a jar and you put a whole bunch of solid rocks in that jar, large boulders in that jar, the question is that jar full? And our natural tendencies is to say yes, the jar is full of boulders. But the answer is not. If you take smaller pebbles and you pour it in between those large boulders of that jar, the question is life full? Is that jar full? And the answer is, well, yeah, it looks full, it's full. And the answer is not. And then if you take water and you pour water in between those pebbles and those large boulders, then you can actually say, yes, the jar is full. Yes, my life is full. And that is what Bethel has taught me, is that you have to be very cognizant of how you're filling up your jar of life. After I interact with somebody, after I engage, I want them to leave and go, wow, there's something special about Aaron. I wonder what that is. And when I work in a non-faith-based institution, those are the things that I measure myself on, is showing up, being present, doing what Jesus did, is authentically loving, authentically caring, meeting people where they're at in their life, seeing them for who they are, and developing that community around them.